close. Hello and welcome to Jessie Bear Book Club. Welcome to live chat. Where'd it go? Yep. I am at my parents' house in Spain. I wonder if my camera's clean enough. I'm just gonna give it a wipe. So I'm at my parents' house, and as many of you know, my parents live really far off grid in the middle of nowhere in Spain. And I got my fancy Campo hat on. Do you like it? It makes me feel like an influencer, you know, like from 2010. But we are here to review Love Pamela, the Pamela Anderson autobiography. I bought it to read actually on holiday last year, and then I never got around to it. So it had been sitting in my library, and I just thought, you know what, this is the perfect occasion to read it. So it's a really short book. I finished it kind of in the first week I was here, and I was planning to do a big review when I got home to Ireland, but you know what, I'm here, I might well do it now. So I wrote notes. I wrote loads of notes, and then me and my mum went to Cordoba, and I've lost my notes. So I'm going to try and remember as much as I can from what I wrote down. The book is really split into three sections. You've got Pamela Anderson's early life and teenage years, then you kind of have the Playboy years up to Tommy Lee, and then you have the time afterwards. So the first part of the book really focuses on her childhood, and I kind of think that if you've watched the Love Pamela Netflix show, you don't overly need to read the book. There is more details in it than in the TV show, of course, but not a ridiculous amount more information. But definitely you get a sense of how abusive her father was. I mean, when she was talking about her father trying to press her mother's face into the hot stove, I mean, what on earth was wrong with that man? And the fact, like, they were obviously very toxic and very codependent, and I think that left a massive imprint on Pamela Anderson and the way she views love and how intense love should be and feel. And it's interesting. A minute. But I did enjoy it. I liked hearing about all the different things she did in Canada. It seems like her childhood was pretty normal, even if they were quite poor. She does make some, like, her family were obviously quite into poetry and stuff, and that's not something I can connect with because my family aren't into poetry. So that was awkward, and I liked when she was talking about wrecking her car and her dad taking her out to look at the wreck, because I could totally see my parents doing that. That made complete sense, and how this was some sort of family tradition to go and like look at the wreck of your car and be like, don't do that again. That's a bad idea. My plat's all messy. Anyway, so I liked that. I also liked, you know, when her parents asked her to pay rent, she moved out. Also something really relatable. So I got that. And then sleeping in a closet with her shoes around her head like a big halo. I thought that was really nice. Super nice touch. I thought it was I kind of already knew because I watched Pam and Tommy. Yes, hi Cecilia. Hi. I watched Pam and Tommy, so I kind of knew that she'd been the Pabst Blue Girl or something like that sort of beer. She'd been a mascot for them, and that's how her career took off. But I didn't know she'd been engaged to that guy. Though the bit where she said that she knew he was having an affair because he was washing his dick in the sink, I was just like, yeah, maybe that's like something out of a soap opera. I think Pamela Anderson was also very lucky to escape the Playboy curse. I mean, I read Crystal Hefner's autobiography a couple months ago, and I'm going to read Holly Madison's at some point, but I think Pamela somehow avoided the Playboy curse because she didn't get into a girlfriend position. She never moved into the mansion or anything, and I think she knew somewhere deep down what would happen, and maybe she was just a bit more up for it. She did tell that Jack Nicholson story about the wink. Yes, hello Cordelius, I think that's how you pronounce your name. So it was interesting, and she said about enjoying being photographed, and I actually went back and looked at some of Pamela's older, like pre-surgery photos for Playboy, and gosh, she was so beautiful. Like, so beautiful. Like, she didn't really need anything done. So that was good. And then her saying about how much she actually does enjoy being photographed. And I mean, who doesn't enjoy getting their photo taken? You know, and being playful and creating characters when she's modeling. I thought that was quite good. Then you kind of move on to the Baywatch years. And I didn't know she'd been in Home Improvement. Did anybody else know Pamela Anderson was in Home Improvement? Because I did not at all. And to be honest, I've never really watched Home Improvement. I know Cormac has, but I haven't. So it was interesting enough, you know, but there was no juicy Baywatch gossip in this book. I was expecting some kind of co-star gossip, like something. I mean, it's very before my time. I didn't really know what Baywatch was until Borat came out, and well, mainly because like I live in Europe, and most of the time as a child we didn't have TV, so that's a thing. But I was expecting like a little bit of, you know, set gossip. Of course, we get set gossip later on with Tommy Lee, but I was thinking more, you know, what was it like when Hulk Hogan was on? What was, you know, what was the Hoff like? He talks a little bit about enjoying the quality of life filming Baywatch and loves being near the ocean, and she brought her dog to set, but it's not very exciting, and you could honestly just watch the Netflix documentary, which I watched when it came out, so that was a bit and her love life, like there's a little bit of talk about it, but nothing overly ridiculously explicit. But you know what, like that's why we're here. Like we all bought Pamela Anderson's book for a bit of that. Hello, Patricia Neherina, I'm gonna say. So I was a little bit disappointed by that, just a little, but I mean it is what it is. She definitely likes to spend money. She says in the book herself, yes, me apoyo un buen día. Sí, tú también. Bonho, Jimmy. So, you know, she was talking about having sex on a motorbike. Seems really uncomfortable. For that, my name's Jessica. Sorry, I've got notifications there. I don't really know. Then there's the whole Tommy Lee thing, and if to be honest, if you want to kind of get into their relationship, to be honest, and I feel kind of bad saying this because I know how much it annoyed her at the time. Just watch the Pam and Tommy on Disney Plus. Just watch that because there's not super much more detail in the show. I think the Netflix documentary made Pamela out to be a lot stupider than she is, but I think, you know, reasonably storytelling wise, if you annoy the guy who actually stole the safe, I think that probably much sums up their relationship quite a bit. No, it's all right. Gracias, Poncho. ¿Eres de España? I enjoyed it. Like, it's not her meeting Tommy Lee. There wasn't as much kind of about them actually meeting the night, like when they took the ecstasy, or you know, their holiday in Cancun and things, and that kind of bugged me a little. You know, I wanted a bit more of how she met Tommy, and their kind of connection. She talks about, oh, we're so in love. He'd write songs about my feet. We're so in love. I threw this amazing big birthday party for him. Oh, we're so in love. He threatened a photographer with a shotgun. And I mean, it's not, there's no like, we're so in love. He told me this, or we connected on a level. Oh, it's more, we joined the Mile High Club together, which I found odd. Oh, hello, Sound Valeria. Okay, hello. If you're watching this, give this a like, please. I'd appreciate it. So her and Tommy Lee's relationship, and it's only a couple of chapters in the book. It's like, the book is quite short anyway, and there's only like this much in it, you know, about her and Tommy and their divorce and stuff. I don't know, just watch the documentary on Netflix if you're interested, and then watch Pam and Tommy on Disney. That's all you really have to know. She said at one point she tried to commit suicide because of him, but even that isn't covered in great detail. You know, he does talk about her miscarriage, and then she goes on to talk about the sex tape, and then never bring it up again. She kind of says about how much it affected her in trying to sue the people who stole it and stuff, but it's not really a big thing. He said the worst part was when she went to the meeting and they had the massive blown up photos of her naked on the wall, which just sounds horrible. I mean, like, you wouldn't get away with that now. It kind of reminded me of the Paris Hilton thing, where it's like, this isn't okay now, but for some reason it was okay then. It did feel very, very sexist, and she talks about the double standard as well with her and Tommy Lee. But yeah, that's really about it. One thing I was not expecting in this book was how much she talked about her activism and how dull it was. I did not enjoy her talking about her activism. It didn't interest me. I was honestly there for scandal, and it didn't happen. So that was kind of dull, you know? It is what it is. What a E2. What EU? Okay. That's fine. I don't know what that means. What am I? I'm a human, I think. Then we kind of get on to the divorce and Tommy Lee being slightly violent, and then they get divorced, and again it's covered really quickly. It's just like bing bang bong. He pushed her, she accidentally made him go to prison, that he gets out of prison, they can't forgive each other, they get divorced, end of. And then it goes on to talk about her relationship with Kid Rock, which I was interested in because I actually am a bit of a nerd and I kind of like Kid Rock. I know I shouldn't, and I know he's like cheesy as hell, but I do own one of his CDs I play in the car. So there's that. But again, she didn't overly cover her relationship with him. She talks about moving to Detroit and how great it was to be around all these musicians. That's cool, I guess, but it wasn't, you know, anything massive. She said he was a good dad, but again, you know, not that big a deal. She talks about the MTV Music Awards and Kid Rock and Tommy Lee getting into a fight at it. But again, it's not enough to keep you like super interested. To be honest, like, I was reading this by the pool and she kept going on about her activism and her veganism, and I was just getting bored. I'm gonna take my hat off because I think it's making my face dark. Does that look better? I'm gonna put it over here. My campo hat. Anyway, so there's a lot of talk about her activism, and then she goes on, she talks about her boys and how important her children are to her, which was really nice to hear about, and how good her parents were with her children, and they kind of seen it as a fresh start, and that was good to hear. And you know, when she was talking about getting her mom medical help and things, that was, you know, it's very human. I think most people can connect to stuff like that. Oh, it's got all dark outside. You see, I'm in the south of Spain and it's meant to rain this evening, but I don't know if it's going to, and it's just like weird and cold. I had to put a hoodie on today. So anyway, back to Pamela Anderson. So yeah, the thing I did think was really creepy is when she had the Frogger living in her house. Like, the Frogger, like Pamela Anderson had a Frogger. Does everybody know what Froggers are? Because Froggers, they're people who live in your house without you knowing about them. And it creeps me the hell out. I was watching a documentary, I think it was on Discovery Plus, about them, and I had to stop it because I was getting so freaked out about the idea of like somebody living in my house. I was like, nope, can't deal with that. So she had a Frogger living in her guest house who was wearing her clothes and eating her food, and had been there for like a month. And then when they caught her, the poor girl tried to commit suicide in like Pamela's bed, and just, it sounded really horrific. And I don't know what you do. Like, how do you react to that? And she'd been wearing Pamela's Baywatch bathing suit. Really gross. Really, really gross. Then we kind of move on to like her time in Vegas when she was working as a magician's assistant, and that sounded manic. I mean, I could just tell reading that a lot of stuff was going on that she wasn't talking about. Like, that sounded like some coke-filled bender. you know, that went on for a couple of years. It really did. And she was saying stuff and it wasn't making sense in context, like her brother running up like these massive gambling debts and her getting married to get him out of them and stuff. Like, it didn't sound like the behavior of a rational human. And then you get like the crack pipe in the Christmas tree bit, and it was just very odd. I don't think she was like maybe in the right headspace when she was doing that. So there's that, and she talks about living in a trailer, but it obviously was a very fancy trailer, and her boy is loving surfing, and I don't know. It seems like she's had like two different lives. She's had like the party girl life, like the Playboy party girl life, and then on the other side of the coin, she's had a very like good, holistic, vegan, kids go to a Waldorf school life, which I think, to be honest, probably a lot of people can relate to. You know, I think a lot of people are, you know, they've got more than one personality. But I don't know, the book didn't really mesh to me. I wanted like a scandalous book, not a book telling me about like why I should join PETA. Okay, so we get to that point. She talks about sending her kids to boarding school in Canada, which was dull, but she says she was really glad she persevered with it because they both got really good educations, which I think is important. And she only like briefly talks about the fact her boys were teased for the sex tape. And I wanted a little bit more about the whole Borat thing. She only mentions it briefly. And she only mentions it as the reason Kid Rock broke up with her was the fact she was in Borat. I don't know, this book made me want to watch Borat again. Like, I just did. I haven't seen it in probably about 5 years, so I was like, I want to watch that again. But it's an all right book, but she says that the sex tape was like lots of different tapes cut together, which, yeah, I can see that. You know, who wouldn't do that if they're there to make a buck? In fairness, doesn't make it right, but it does mean they did it. And I think she talks about like how she's really into like sustainability and eco-ness and what she's doing on her land, which was interesting. I mean, like, I live in the middle of nowhere, like, well, I used to with my parents, so I get it. But, you know, it's not a scandalous, salacious read, is it? I enjoyed hearing about her doing Chicago. That was really interesting. I enjoyed that. But the one thing that I thought was really odd, and I wasn't expecting, was the fact that she had a one-night stand with Julian Assange. Julian Assange. The man looks like a naked mole rat. Like, what are this? What are this? It's just weird. And she talks about meeting Julian Assange's mother and raising money for him, and I'm like, okay, yep, that's all good, well and good, but I don't know. She was also talking about meeting like really rich Russian men about trying to get whales freed, which, like, yeah, free the whales, obviously. I mean, you know, we've all seen Blackfish and those other documentaries, but I don't know, she was just, it was just weird. She was talking about like throwing ninja stars, and you know, these men had obviously invited her to this stuff, and it just seemed sleazy, like she knew what they wanted her there for and she wasn't doing it. She was trying to talk about whales. I don't know, I found it a bit odd, but I guess, you know, it is what it is. I'm trying to think. I'm sorry, I keep moving around because I'm sitting on the floor and I'm getting pins and needles. She talks about moving to the south of France and enjoying it, but, you know, kind of becoming very unfit. But I get that. Like, it'd be nice to just move to the south of France and learn French and go about your business, you know. She obviously likes cooking. You know, I think it's nice that her parents are on her land now, and I like the sound of, like, she obviously loves a golden retriever, you know, Star and Zuby Zoo. So that was interesting too, but I can't really think. Does anybody out there have any questions about Pamela Anderson that I could maybe answer from reading the book? I'm trying to think if there is anything else. I mean, she obviously was like very badly treated by a babysitter and boyfriends when she was younger. I mean, like, the gang rape thing was just horrible. Made me want to cry for her. But I think the early part of her life gets maybe 1/3 of the book, and the rest of her life only gets 2/3. which I found an odd choice. I wouldn't be surprised if later in life she brings out another book with more detail about some of the stuff she got up to, in all honesty. I'm gonna have some tea. But I don't know. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I wouldn't read it again, and I think I would only maybe give it 5 out of 10 as a book. It was an alright holiday read, but there were definitely bits I could have done without. Her talking so much about her activism and her love of poetry wasn't really for me. And, you know, I read the book for a scandal. It's a holiday read. I mean, you know, I'm not expecting War and Peace. I'm not expecting A Song of Ice and Fire. But it would have been nice to see some of it, you know, like just little bits of, you know, scandal here and there. But I think I'm going to wrap up this review. It has been a good 20 minutes, and there don't seem to be any questions about it. But I am currently reading I'm Glad My Mum Died by Janine McCurdy. I think that's how you pronounce her name, and I was never a big iCarly girl. To be honest, we didn't really have TV, so I've never really watched any Nickelodeon programs, but I am really enjoying this book, and I think when I review it, it will probably go on my autobiography review playlist, and maybe as well my like Mormon review playlist, just because you know, she's talking a lot about Mormonism in the book and how that affected her life, and I think that's like obviously a big deal for her. I only started last night, but the chapters are so short. It's like this much, and they're like, next chapter. So that's the thing, but I'm enjoying it. I think it's going to be right up my alley. I really have got into autobiographies recently, so if anybody out there wants to recommend an autobiography, please go ahead. But if that is all, I've got a taste test coming out next week. I was going to put it out this Sunday, but instead of the taste test, you guys are going to get this. So I hope that makes you happy. I do like doing lives. They're a lot more interactive, and they definitely grow my viewer count, like my watch hours more, which is good because, you know, we're all chasing that monetization, right? But to be honest, I just like talking about books on YouTube. That's the honest truth. I don't really overly care if I never get monetized. I'll probably just keep doing this because it's a good personal vlog as well of like what I'm reading. I'm still reading Shogun, right? So I watched Shogun on Disney Plus, really enjoyed it. I wrote a massive review. I think it's like, I want to say 5 pages, like 5 A4 pages, and then I decided before I reviewed it, I should probably read the book, and I didn't realize that it's 2 parts, so I got it on Audible, because I was like, there's no way I'm going to sit down and read all of this, because they're enormous. So I got it on Audible, and I listened to the first part, and I'm about, I want to say 2/3 through the second one, and I'm really enjoying that as well. But I also found out, because I was talking to my parents, that they have it somewhere on DVD. They have it, and it was like also made into a TV show, I think in the 1970s, along with like things like The Borgias and I, Claudius, and I 100% will watch the old version of Shogun, and then I'd really like to do a comparison of that. So I think my Shogun video will probably be much longer. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I've got going on. I don't know. I finished doing the Accursed King series obviously last week, and I've got like a super compilation review of all of those coming out. And then I would like to rate the books, so I need to get that recorded as well. I don't know, just, you know, when the summer rolls around and you're just on holiday and you're not getting really around to filming. And then, you know, I've got all this stuff printed, like I've written so many reviews, and it's just really sitting down to record. Because sometimes you're just not in the mood. Not in the mood to record. I was in the mood today though, so that's good. I would like a little bit more audience participation, but you can't always have it. I mean, I only have just over 1,000 subscribers. I know I'm aiming for more. Definitely, like, coming into the winter, I'll have more time to record, and I would really like to be able to get 2 videos out a week, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen, just with my work schedule and stuff. but I do have a ton of stuff, and then I've done quite a few compilation videos, and I want to make more. So even if I was doing a compilation video on, like, let's say a Sunday, and then on a Tuesday or a Friday I could put out a new video, I would really like to do that as well, because I do have a lot of stuff that could turn into compilation videos. I've got like all my Alison Weir reviews and stuff, and I've also, remember I did that little short segment where I did some historical fiction writing, so I made that into a review, like what if Anne Boleyn was reprieved from execution. I actually want to get back to that because I was enjoying that. And I also did a Sansa Stark theory compilation video, because I think I have like 3 Sansa Stark theories. And then I also have my Dorne compilate. Well, I haven't made it yet, but I do have quite a few videos about Dorne and theories about Dorne. So I'd like to get a Dorne compilation video made as well and get that up. But I'm always open to suggestions. Do not worry. I love a good suggestion for a video. I've got like a bunch of stuff. It's just taking me ages to get around to filming or recording or whatever. I've got like so many little projects on. I've been doing lots of cross stitch, and you know, I want to get really into sea glass. I've been collecting sea glass, and I want to make little sea glass art because I enjoy that. But I think I will head on. These filters, I don't really play around with this so much. Ooh. Oh no, it's just for the thumbnail. Oh, that's annoying. Oh, but it's okay. It'll be filters for me. I wonder if I can swipe. I cannot swipe. Okay, guys, but until next time, I will see you again soon. Have a lovely weekend. Can you hear that? That's the wind. All the plants are going. The weather here has really changed. Okay, bye. Have a great weekend. Oh, I don't want to start a poll. I want to exit. I don't want to share it. Cancel. Oh, it's up here. Oh, I'm so silly. But I didn't know I could do a poll. Next time I'm going to do a poll.